Hello and welcome to YHTV's Trinity of Life. This is episode 14, and I'm Christina Suzuma, your host of this program. Thank you so much for joining me again as I continue to explore the wonderful world of healing arts, meditation, therapies, and modalities of helping us, each and every one of us, find balance in our individual journeys. We are so excited to meet those who are always on the leading edge of creating change on this planet. And today, if you will join me in welcoming this beautiful, lovely individual, yogini and glowing spirit, who is on that cutting edge of change with the traditional forms of yoga. It gives me great honor to welcome Chitra here to Trinity of Life. Hello, Chitra. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Christina. Thank you so much for having me.
It's
I'm
great to
happy to
have
be
you
here.
on. Yes, as you take a moment from all your travels.
I know I've been very, very busy this last year, but loving it, enjoying every moment.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great through all this time on the planet right now? And I think as we both have spoken when we met, there's just so much happening. It's such a year of, it's been the last few years of such change, and in some people's lives, it might look like turmoil or, just completely disinvolvement of everything in their life. That it's so great to hear someone say that you're loving what's happening right now.
Oh, it's an amazing, amazing time. It's very, very exciting, actually. Time is speeding up, I
Mhm.
feel. You can see it in everything that you're doing. Your experiences, your lessons are more condensed, so you learn so much more, so much quicker if
Yes.
you're up to it. I think a lot of people are not, so they feel like a rock has hit them or something. But that's life. Life is untamed. It's wild. And if you can go with it, if you can go with the flow like that, it is an incredible time to be around. Yes, you can
Absolutely.
you can evolve. Your evolution can be accelerated right now. So I'm very excited and I'm loving it. Like I said, I'm loving all the changes.
Oh, that is fantastic. So there's a few things that we'll cover today, and I know there's one very, very specific topic that we're going to cover, which is something that is on the cutting edge right now. But Chitra, before we do that, can you share with our audience a little bit about your background and how you've come to the place that you've come to today?
Wow, yes. My parents, Yogi Hari and Leela Mata, they both have ashrams right now, one in Florida and my mother in Pennsylvania. They, I was 4 years old when they moved to the Shivananda ashrams. And the first one, I think it was Bahamas. We were
Mm.
there with Swami Vishnu Devananda. And gosh, how do I tell you about this time? It was pretty crazy. It was when everyone was, the hippies were all moving into ashrams and trying to figure out a little about what the meaning of life was. And so my parents came in because they were doing yoga on their own at the time, and they found this great community. And before I knew it, my parents sold everything. And I think it was in a matter of days, we were living there
Wow.
full time. I mean, they quit their jobs and just really immersed themselves in the practice of yoga, meditation, Vedanta philosophy. And we are, I have three other siblings. So here we are. I was 4 years old. I have two older siblings. And we were, I guess the ashram kids, we were made to do the program just like everyone else. It didn't matter that we were 4 or 5 or 6 years old.
Wow.
The program was the same for everyone, and everyone was expected to do that. I remember having to get up at 5:30 in the morning and get ready for meditation, which was at 6 o'clock. And then from there, right into yoga practice. And then from there, we would eat. We would have like a brunch,
Mm.
and then go into lectures. And from there, in the after, lunch, then another yoga class. And I can tell you at that age, it was very, very difficult. It was like I hate to say this, but it was like going into hell at the time, because you come from, this life where you're free, and a 4-year-old kid is just wants to play. They don't want to
Yes.
have such discipline and structure. So I remember during my meditation practices, I would, at the beginning, I would just go through these different worlds and in my imagination. And I found that in these moments of quiet, I really came face to face with myself. I didn't know that at the time, that that's what I was doing, but I would go to these other realms, these other planes of existences, and speak to other beings. And I know that sounds really strange, but to a child, it's not at all. Actually, their imagination is very alive, and they're doing this all the time. It's only when society and your culture tells you that this is not happening that you shut these parts of yourselves down.
Right.
Luckily, in my culture, that wasn't the case, and I was able to keep a lot of those avenues open. So that was my upbringing, in an ashram. We didn't move out till I was about 14 or 15 years old, and then into another ashram, which is
Oh.
my parents' ashram. They opened their own. So all my life, I've been doing this. It's become such a part of who I am and such a way of life that I had no idea that at the age that I'm at right now, yoga would become so popular. I remember, you know, at school age, when I had to start school, this was not something I could speak to anyone about. I remember making the mistake of mentioning yoga to one of my friends, and next thing I knew, their parents, said, "I guess don't talk to that girl." It just. So I learned very early on not to speak about meditation, not to speak about yoga, not to speak about these practices that I had learned about, which was
Wow.
very isolating, of course. But I
Were there
lived
not
with
other
that.
children at the ashram as well that were going through the same thing?
Very few. Very
Wow.
few, yeah. And they would come and they would go. I think we were the ones that stayed the longest.
Mm.
And, my parents were on this path, and they wanted to stick to it. In the Indian culture, at least from what I understood at the time, the focus was less on the children and more on your own inner growth. So that's what was happening at that time. They were more focused on bettering themselves. And of course, we were in a great environment. They never felt that it was unusual in any way. So yeah, I don't know if they knew we were going through that at the time. I'm sure if they did, they might have tried to find better ways. But education was also very important for them,
Yes.
for us to have that. So, they looked at it as part of life. And luckily, with the techniques that I've learned throughout life, or through these through the ashram, meditation and yoga, I was able to cope. Yes. So, of course, moving to Florida, and my parents now leaving the organization, we moved into another ashram, now my parents' ashram. And that is my background. So, like I said, I'm very excited to be alive at this time, and to be at a place where this is becoming so popular, and this is actually something people want to know about. I never would have thought I could make a living with this. This was just for me living. I never knew that people would actually be interested enough to want to know this, because it is such a solitary practice. It's really your own journey. So to be able to be in this position where my knowledge is valuable to people is really nice.
Yes, absolutely. And that's like you've taken a full circle in your life, right? From being so immersed as a very young child to a very young adult. And
Right.
now it's sort of like all come all come back right, perfect in alignment.
And you're right when you say full circle, because right when I left, I could not wait to leave the ashram.
That's
At
really
the age,
great. That's really great that you say that and you're so honest about that, because I think about the kids out there is like when my son was really young, he would follow us doing yoga and he would know a lot of the poses and everything. And then he got to a point where he was just done with it. He didn't want to see us doing it. He's just done with it. And then now it's almost all coming back in because we haven't pushed it. We haven't done anything. But it's that whole ebb and flow of life, of the adventure and of the experiences, isn't it? So it's
Right. Well, I think that's the key, not pushing it. Because we were made to do it, it wasn't, you
yes.
know, it lost its charm. We didn't want to do it anymore. I was counting the days till my 18th birthday.
Oh, I see. So on your 18th birthday, you were allowed to leave.
I could leave, yeah, well, obviously I went away for college and did all of that, but I was away from that environment because I had all these dreams. I wanted to succeed in the world, and I couldn't understand how these practices and these techniques they were teaching me were going to help me with that. It was helping me to get out of the world, and I wanted to go into the world. So I was thinking, God, I'll never use this stuff. I'll never use this stuff. And so of course, I wanted to go right into acting and modeling, things that are so contrary to any of this stuff. I wanted to make money. All these, these things that I guess you just don't do when you're in an ashram. These people are coming to get away from life and get away from the world and, look more into their inner world. And I'm looking to go out there and figure out, no, what is this world all about? I want to master this world. This is what I came for. So, I went to New York and tried modeling there. I was too short, didn't get the height, but decided then to try acting. I said, well, if I can't make it this way, I'll try another way. And from there came to Los Angeles and really immersed myself in this world. And through this world, I really woke up in so many ways. It was kind of like I needed that contrast.
Yes.
I really needed to see it. And it was almost, you really create your own reality, and you really create the lessons that you need to learn. And by being in this world of acting and seeing all these superficial people, I mean, not all of them are like that, of course, but in general, there is a superficiality that happens. And, they're all talking about what they have, what they are going to achieve. And it's all of the outer world. And it really brought home what I did have. A lot of these people were on drugs, alcohol. I can name, so many things, so many ways their life went wrong. And they had no way of pulling themselves out of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was a real wake-up call for me, and I had to separate myself a little more. And that's, of course, I'm here in LA now, where yoga and meditation is on the rise, and it's where I decided, well, after having children, I really wanted them to learn a little of what I had, and so I came full circle. I decided to go back to my roots, and of course, at first, just teaching my children and giving it to them, because I didn't know how well other children or other parents would receive a lot of this knowledge. But along the way, I started to make CDs, meditation CDs for kids, and that's how the New Age Kids company started. So all of this has been through, me shadowing my children and giving them what I would want to give the world, so to speak. And in a way, bringing other kids along for the ride. And now that they're growing up and they're going away, I'm ready now to. I think the world is ready. That's partly why I'm ready to get out there and start doing more of this.
That's really wonderful. I mean, that's that's quite a story. That whole full circle, and then now it's your time to sort of. It seems like the seeds were already sown, and you've kind of been that vine that just kind of curved through that fence, and now your roots are digging in deep now.
Yes, and now I can relax and speak from who I am, which is really, really nice. It's not a role. It's
Yes.
not acting, and that is so freeing.
Yes.
You can't imagine.
Yes, absolutely. Now, so how was it teaching your own children?
Well, kind of like what you said in the beginning, it was very easy because they kind of want to please you. They want to do whatever, you. Sorry about that. That's my phone.
No worries.
I did turn that off. They're really into pleasing their parents. In India, we always look at our parents as our first God. And so, you're the one that gives them their sustenance, that you give them the knowledge, you're telling them how the world works. And so they really look up to you, and they do everything that you basically want, as long as there's love that comes with it. So in the beginning, it was very, very easy. I could, and of course, the type of meditation that I was teaching was through the imagination. It was pretty much like storytelling. And so that made it very easy. But like you said, at a certain age, they wanted to assert their independence and, do what their friends were doing, which I allowed. I think that's very important from my experience. I knew that they needed to do that. Throughout it all, like I said, it's not just, sitting for a meditation or coming to the mat for a yoga class. You can do it in so many ways,
Yes.
just living life, just being present and aware of what's going on. Self-inquiry is a very important one, being honest and truthful to the self. So these things I instilled in them at a very young age. So they were living yoga, and that's the way I put it. They're just living it. It just became part of who they were. So if they needed to step outside and not do the meditation sometimes and do the yoga, that was fine, because I saw it in everything that they did. The way they approached life, the way they lived their life was a very yogic lifestyle.
So I would believe, Chitra, that they were able to live the yogic lifestyle because you created that yogic lifestyle for them.
Right. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just saying to say, by learning it so early, it wasn't something that had to be learned. It just felt like part of who they were. It's like kind of when you're just living your life, if your kids see you do things every day, it's natural. It's nothing that it's not an effort anymore. It just becomes part of who they are. Like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. It's that natural.
Yes, I agree. So do they practice yoga now in the means of what the Western world looks as yoga is the physical form of yoga? Do they do that?
Yes, they do. Actually, we're part of this youth yoga teachers training course that I've created was because of them. I wanted to, for all of the kids, we made it mandatory for them to take a youth yoga teachers training course or a teachers training course. And I wanted them to have other friends their age to do that course with. So that's why I created this. As I've said, a lot of my products, a lot of my programs are kind of geared around them so that they will do it and enjoy it,
Right.
enjoy the process. So my son, like I said, is turning 18 this year, and this is the year that he has to do it. So I said, you know what, we'll get some other young adults between 16 and 21 to do it with you. So that's how that happened.
Oh, that's fantastic. So has this course, just to let our audience know, Chitra is actually teaching a youth yoga teachers training course at her mother's ashram this summer between July 13th and the 27th. And is this the first time that you're doing it, or has it been done before?
Well, it's the first time that we're limiting it to this age group. The last few years, interestingly enough, we've had, the last year we had, I think, 4 young adults, I think 18, 19, 20, around that age, come to my mother's regular yoga teachers training course. And then my dad had mentioned that as well, that he said, that's interesting. I had like 4 young students. And I thought about that, and I said, that's interesting that, because this has never really happened before. They're usually, I would say, in their 30s or 40s, usually in a time of your life where you're looking for a lot of these answers. Maybe something major has happened in your life, and you're starting to realize that the outer world doesn't offer everything you thought it did, and then you turn inward. But yet, these young kids, these young adults were coming to these classes, and I thought to myself, would be a great time to get them together and really teach them some techniques and skills that could really help them in their life. So lessons that are relevant to their stage of life. Things that I've been teaching my kids and continue to teach them. And I thought it would be great to get other kids at this age and teach them together, so that they can, work off of each other and share their experiences and how they handled this. And
Right.
at the same time becoming certified yoga instructors. So that's how the idea was born.
Magnificent. Now, what if so this teacher's training, and it is basically it is part of the Yoga Alliance too. It is a certified training.
It is.
Now, the students that come to this, do they have to be experienced in yoga? Do they have to have, a good embodiment of it before they come?
Well, this is a beginner yoga class that they will be teaching at the end of the course. So yes, they should have some background in yoga, whether it's whether it's taking classes. But, we start at the beginning when we're teaching. It is a 2-week immersion. It's very intensive. And they're actually living at the ashram. So it's residential. And so for 2 weeks, they're really living yoga. It's not just the postures. They're getting bhakti yoga. We chant every morning. We do nada yoga, the mantras, the sound vibration. We're doing jnana yoga through Vedanta philosophy, self-inquiry, Raja yoga, meditation. So we're and karma yoga, selfless service. We're incorporating all the yogas. We're integrating it into our practice every single day. So they're really living yoga, like I said. So they're really getting an experiential experience of what yoga really is, how it can transform their lives, how it can change them so that they can teach this to the world. They have to, it's very important to experience it. How can you teach something that you haven't experienced? So that's why we have the residential course so that they are all together experiencing it together. And that's the whole idea. So I wouldn't say that if you don't have any background, don't come. I think as long as you've practiced somewhat, and you have an idea of what yoga is, what hatha yoga is, you can fit in, and we'll bring you along. So, and there's some people that have to, repeat the course, but you have to start somewhere.
Right. Right. If anything, it would be. My thought is it's great for, how they were saying that they were bringing the yoga into the schools and, into different areas where you might have the difficult teens. I mean, the teen years are so out of, I think, the course of a lifetime, so difficult to get a grasp of. And I think everyone who's been through this teenage years completely understands it. If any of us remember those times, the hormones are going, the body's growing, yes. we're the strengths and the weaknesses, we're sort of right in between all those areas, that it is a very difficult time. And the parents always, I hear parents always say, oh yeah, you think this is difficult, wait till they're teenagers, and I mean, luckily I haven't encountered in my family so much where my nephews and nieces went through that sort of period where they were so difficult that they weren't able to be handled in some way or directed in some way. But for those out there who might have that edge and really don't know which direction to go in, this might be just really wonderful for them to be in a situation where it's a loving environment and they're learning how to connect with themselves.
Yes. Well, it's interesting. Here in the West, we teach in our schools knowledge from books. We talk about our history. We, teach science. We teach math, English, all of these, important subjects to learn how to, live in the world. But we fail to teach some of the most basic things like how to live, not just survive, but actually live. So most of us go through life without the skills of how to really learn from your lessons. Such basic things like this. In India, these things are taught very early on. I don't know what's happening there now, but it was part of their school system, the art of living, because it is an art. It's not something that you just stumble upon and learn as you go through it, which is what we've made our kids do, you know. And it's not till we come to a major disaster in our lives do we start asking these questions. But by that time, we're so much older, and we've lived so much of our life already, kind of stumbling through it,
Right.
that you know, we're tired. You know, and we're exhausted, and life has beaten us up, and we're jaded, and all these things, and we, up to that point, haven't really had a lot of enjoyment in our lives because we don't know how to live. So that is, in one way, I knew that I was different, and I thought to myself, God, if we could, of course, it's educating the parents, because you know, your child's life is basically theirs to do with until, you know, until you do leave. So I always felt that was too difficult, too daunting a task to, you know, to go out there and just educate the parents. So I thought, you know, that's one of the reasons why I thought it would be best to just, you know, put out the CDs and see if parents will, you know, at least let their kids start and have that experience of the self, so that they will have a richer life, you know. And with this course, like you said, a lot of the teenagers, they are unbalanced. There is no harmony within themselves. They're already putting up such a facade because they're learning how to act. They don't really feel that way. If you ask them how they feel, which no one really does, you know, they're teaching them how to behave, how to not show emotion, how to not show your anger if you're upset. So they suppress all these things, and they have no outlet. And yes, then of course they're rebelling, and parents are like, well, why are they doing that? I thought I did everything right. But there's so much more to life, you know, than just finding out how to make a living. And your life can be so much richer if you can learn how to, and there's such simple techniques, you know, just how to really be in the moment, and really to be aware of what is happening, and to really think for yourself.
There you go.
And ask questions and be honest with yourself there, and on, you know. Your life could be so much fuller. And at this time in your life, when you are graduating from high school and going off to college, so many of these fears come up if you're not grounded in the self. You know, you're not just thinking about what am I going to do with the rest of my life, but how will I survive, you know, if I haven't learned these, you know, skills. A lot of times, you know, parents are asking me, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And a lot of kids don't know yet, you know. So
I agree.
It's a really
I find
good
that
time.
a very difficult question. Every time I hear someone say that to my child, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm looking at them going, he's 5 years old. What are you asking? It's like, I don't get this. You know? Can you just play right now and just explore? You know, I don't, you know, it's like, what is your favorite, or what do you want to be? And it's like, can everything not be the way it is?
Right. There's so much pressure on our kids, really, to test well so that they can get into a good university. I mean, I just went through this with my son, so I know the process, and it is stressful. Not just on the parents, but on the kids. I mean, so much. It's crazy. And I just thought to myself, thank God we have these skills that we do have, and can sometimes just withdraw and become the observer in the play, and know how to do that, and not identify all the time with what's happening around you, but just to retreat sometimes and really connect with yourself. And then when you come back, you're so powerful, and you have so much energy to actually tackle what needs to be done. So yeah, and I think if, you know, kids can get this really early on, we'll have we'll have a healthier society. And these are our future leaders. We want our world to be healthier. So it starts now. It really does.
I agree. I completely with you on that. And it's so wonderful. The name of your company, which is New Age Kids, it's so appropriate for this time where, I mean, I do feel that parents, you know, a lot of parents, especially here in Los Angeles, you know, a lot of them are becoming a little more aware of, you know, that the world is actually smaller than it really is, especially with all our wonderful capabilities with technology and the internet, like what we're doing right now, connecting, not being in the same room, we don't have to be, and all the platforms of education, of connecting, of meeting people is all changing. I mean,
Yes.
even how people are meeting each other and getting married is 50% of my friends, it's all online. And I'm like,
That's crazy.
wow. I have a dear friend who is in Brazil and her partner is in Australia, and they met online and they're so in love
Wow.
at this time. And it's brilliant. And really, when you say the new age kids, and it's funny how people look at the word new age as well. But saying that this is the new generation that's coming up, and it's about
Yes.
honing that new generation. And it's lovely to see the parents who are open to it.
Right.
How
Right.
many people would think of sending their child to yoga teacher training at 16 years old?
Right.
And hence why I say that I think you're on the cutting edge of creating change on this planet. That's my feeling. And that what brings all these levels of, what if a child is not so much interested in yoga, so to say, but coming to just learn the levels of life
Mm-hmm.
and how to keep grounded, how
Mm-hmm.
to implement a technique to help them focus. Because that's really, with yoga, it's a lot of focus when you learn to breathe and all those different levels. Um, how would you feel? Would you feel that offering this to not just students of a yogic background, but students out there who really don't know, or the parents don't know what they're looking for? Do you think that it would work for them?
Oh, definitely. Are you talking about the techniques?
Yes, yes. In the means of, let's just say it's a family with no yogic background.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're not, they have only heard about yoga. They've heard about the benefits of yoga. And meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
they have a teenager that might be going through their turmoil and they don't know how to deal with it. Instead of sending them to a camp, or instead of sending them to whatever it might be, more summer school where they're drilled into the books. And as
Mm-hmm.
I think with your background and my background, the more you drill something that doesn't align with the child or the individual, the more it's rebounding and bouncing off that person. Is almost like their wall of defensive mechanism
Right.
comes up. Um,
Right.
so I don't want to say that they're difficult children, because I don't believe they are. I just feel that, as you say, societally, people are structured in a certain way of learning. Would you
Right.
feel that this sort of course would help them to break
Oh,
through
definitely.
and learn to balance with what is in the structure that they're in?
Oh, definitely. A lot of these kinds of kids that you're talking about are just disconnected. And through this course, we teach them techniques, how to connect with themselves again through life lessons, things that we speak to them on their level. We talk about the things that they've gone through. A lot of times, like I said before, we're teaching kids how to act, not how to
Yes.
really be. And that is the biggest part of the problem. So they're not really in touch with who they really are anymore. Their thoughts and their words and their actions are not in line. They're not in harmony. They're
Mhm.
pretending to be one way, which when they feel another way. And that takes up a lot of energy. It
Oh
really
yeah.
does. So and a lot of times that comes from the parents maybe guiding them a certain way that maybe in a certain profession that they would like them to do. Or I mean, I think we're a little more conscious of that now, but there still is a little of that,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
they would like them to be successful, and their idea of success is this image, this picture, where every child comes into the world with a gift. Every child comes into the world with a purpose, and we don't honor that anymore. And I think through meditation and through self inquiry and just really being silent, and some of these techniques, you can really get in touch with yourself, get connected again, and find out what you came here to do. Because if you are on that path of living your purpose, you are happy, you are successful, you have the energy to live life. And I think at the basis of all of this, our parents just want us to be happy. I really believe that. That's unconditional love. So by coming to a course like this, you can really just connect with the self again and really find out what it is you've come here to do. What is your gift that you are going to give this world? And really get on your path right away. And with that energy that, you harness from not being scattered anymore, not trying to appear and play a role anymore, but just really be yourself. So, yeah, I think that's, and also you'll find that when a child is more connected, they don't rebel as much anymore because they're so centered in themselves. They have this really healthy sense of self. And they're not trying to prove anything anymore. The ego doesn't assert itself as much anymore. They're just very calm and they know who they are, and that's where I think ultimately we all want our kids to feel.
Right. Now, with something like this, would 2 weeks be enough?
It's just the beginning.
I was going to say, it's like, oh, I would love those 2 weeks myself.
Yes. When Swami Vishnu Devananda started the course, it was actually 3 months. But, a lot of people found it very hard to leave their family or their work and take that time. So it then was condensed to a month. And then my dad found a way to make it into a 2-week beginner and then a 3-week advanced. So a total of 5 weeks, and you could get, a lot of the knowledge. Of course, we're just teaching you the basics that you live and you experience, and then you go off on your own. You're supposed to continue to practice and continue to grow and learn. And so it's a lifelong process. It's not something that's just the 2 weeks, obviously. It's something that you'd have to continue on your own. But it is a great start. I think a lot of times when people just get a taste of it, they want more. Yes. And that 2 weeks is there to give them that taste, to awaken something within them that wants, that they would want more. So
this is so exciting. Very, very exciting. Now, when you say it's a certified course and is recognized by the Yoga Alliance, and I understand that the Yoga Alliance has the different levels of certification, and I do believe like one is a 200-hour, and is there a 3 and then a 500-hour or something?
Yeah, this is a 200-hour. This is a 200-hour certification. If you stayed for the other 3-week advanced course, you would get the 500-hour certification. So,
I see. So it's actually back to back.
We do have one in August. It's not back to back. We do have one in August that's for the advanced teachers training, but that is all ages. So, but we have one of those a year.
Oh, magnificent.
Yeah.
The forms, now, does it matter the form of yoga? Because there's so many forms out there now. It's like, oh my goodness, what is that?
Right. Yes.
I remember that you had said that, the ashram that you were raised in was Shivananda.
Right. Well, this is where politics and all of that comes into play. But yes, we grew up with Shivananda yoga. But what happened when we left, my dad had his own sequence that he perfected. And like I said, it was an integrated system of all the yogas, which Shivananda does as well. But my father's focus was mostly Nada yoga. He loves mantras, and he's a great musician. He plays the tabla and the harmonium, and and sings all the ragas. And that was his passion. So he incorporated that as well as doing his own yoga sequence. So he couldn't name it Shivananda yoga, but its foundation, its basis is Shivananda yoga. But Sampurna means fullness, And it is, like I said, the integrated forms of all the yogas. So he thought it was a good name for it. So it kind of identifies, you know, it as separate. I think everyone kind of in the West does that. So that's what it is. But at the, at the end of it all, it's still, I feel it's all the same.
Yes.
This is obviously a course that my mom and dad did together when, put together when they were together. So they're both teaching it.
I
It is
see.
their style of yoga.
I
Yeah.
see. And what is this form called again?
Sampurna.
Sampurna.
Sampurna yoga. Yes.
Sampurna yoga. And is that what that's what you'll be teaching also with the youth teacher training?
Yes. Well, that will be the name that we give it. But like I said, it's Hatha Yoga, Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Nada Yoga. It's all of the yogas integrated into a system so you will learn all of this,
Oh my goodness. That's a lot
Yeah.
to learn. So, well, so in 2 weeks, you would be certified as the kids would be certified as a 200-hour Yoga Alliance teacher.
Right. So with this certification, they could teach a beginner level Sampurna yoga class. That's what they would be able to teach. Yes.
Wonderful. Oh, that's another yoga that I have to learn the name of now. Oh,
I just say Hatha yoga. I mean, I think only in the West we have to name it. So it is
yes.
yoga. That is the basis.
Yoga
It's yoga.
is yoga. I
Yeah.
mean, but it's so funny. You walk into a class and you go, "Pardon me, flow yoga."
Yes, you have to know it.
Okay, and then now there's yin yoga. Yeah, great. And then there's
Right.
it's like, okay.
Yeah. That's an education in itself, learning all the different types of yoga.
Right. And it's true, it's whichever one works well for you. And it's
Right.
wonderful that, if you're teaching an integrative source, then the person can follow, or, hopefully your teachers that come out will be able to adjust the class to whomever's in the class when they have that understanding. So,
Right. Well, in the East, actually, I keep saying in India, but they used to look at a person individually and decide from their temperament what type of yoga to do. For example, someone that is very emotional would be prescribed bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion. And then someone that is very the intellect is awakened and they're always wanting to know more, they would prescribe jnana yoga. So and then of course, like someone where both the intellect and the feeling center, the heart center is more balanced, they would give them karma yoga. So they would actually start doing, the action is important. So that is the way it's really done. Only in the West do we teach just hatha yoga, just the postures, which in India, that was taught to everyone. That was a way of purifying the body-mind system so that the feeling center was more awakened and the intellect was more awakened. So it's actually the first level. But if that is awakened already within you, if the intellect is awakened and the heart center is awakened, then you can move on to the other yogas. So it's just by putting them all together, by integrating the system, you can now accelerate at a faster pace. So, and in the West, we're all about accelerating.
Oh, yes.
So
Very
it
much
works.
so. Yes. I always say, we feel like that tornado, right? And you have to try to keep yourself in that center core of it as everything's swirling around.
Right.
So we can stay still and just, as you say, be the observer of everything that's flying. So, well, this is lovely. Now your course is taking place in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And your course basically covers everything from accommodations to food.
Everything vegetarian. We accommodate one lady needed gluten-free, so we're accommodating her in that aspect of, but it's a vegetarian Ayurvedic based meal plan. So yeah.
So when it's Ayurvedic, so do you sort of customize the meals to what I'm learning as the different Ayurvedic body
Uh,
types?
the doshas,
The
not
doshas.
necessarily, but what we do offer will be tridoshic, so it would be good for everyone.
Hmm.
Yeah. Of course, if there is a specific problem that they're working on, they could, we could work towards getting them more in balance that way, because of
Right,
course diet is a big part of it.
right.
So, but that's another thing to have to think about. And there's so much that we're going to be teaching in this course that they will learn about Ayurveda, and they will learn about what their dosha is and how to keep that in balance. But the main focus would be more on learning how to teach the class and giving them life skills and techniques to live in the world.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So what would the curriculum be like for a day with these students?
Well, they're going to be doing the exact curriculum the adults would be doing, which
Mm.
is waking up at 5:30 in the morning. It's the same schedule we went through. Uh, they're going to get a little taste of that. 6 o'clock would be meditation, where we would have chanting as well and a lecture. From there, we'll go right into our yoga class, our first yoga class of the day, and then we would have our meal, a brunch. From there, we will give some time to, after that, we'll give some time to do their personal study, which they're going to need because, like I said, it's a very fast-paced, intensive course. So they will use that time to study. And then around 2 o'clock, we will gather again for another lecture where we'll be teaching Samkhya philosophy, about the different yogas, maybe Ayurveda. So the lectures will change throughout the days that we're there. Then at 4 o'clock, again, we'll have another yoga class. This time it'll be also we'll go into theory and to alignment and to actually each posture, we'll dissect each posture. After that, we would again have a meal or dinner. And then meditation again, which is again meditation, chanting, and then our lecture. And we sometimes finish 10 o'clock at night. So it's a long day. There's a lot to do. So 5:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, they're doing something. And this is the course that we, like I said, the adults do as well. Yeah.
So there's no time for play. It is the play during the day.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's only 2 weeks and there's so much to take in and so much to learn. And we want to make sure that the teachers we're turning out know their stuff, not just by learning the sequence, but also by really experiencing it. And it's a very short time.
Yes.
So,
yes.
yeah, we have to use every minute of it.
Oh,
Now, of
yes.
course, they're welcome to stay a day or two after and take in the sights and relax if they'd like. That's okay.
Or
Yeah,
can they come a day early and kind of adjust to the
course.
time?
Of course, they could do that as well.
Yeah, I can imagine it's like 2:30 in the morning for those from on the West Coast.
I know. I'm having my kids come on the 10th, so they have those few days to adjust.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness. Well, this is really wonderful. And so for the parents who are, what if the parents would like to come with the children?
Well, we have lots of room there.
Oh, okay.
So that is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely a possibility. They could also sit in on some of the courses if they'd like. But actually, I'm speaking way before I'm even thinking about that. I would probably like the kids to be in there by themselves so that we
Yes.
could have those moments where, they share and bond. So, but they could join the yoga classes and the meditations.
Because I'm assuming being an ashram, there's different things happening at different
Right.
parts of the ashram at the
Right,
same
right.
time.
Yeah, this will be the main course going on at the time. But like I said, the yoga and the meditation is open to everyone. So they could definitely join in on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the only time that it would be exclusive to the children would be during the lectures that are focusing on life lessons, on techniques, things like that.
Right, right. Well, I do agree with you. I think separating the the students from the parents for all that training
Yeah,
period is really good. Is a different dynamic, isn't it? I'm sure
it
you
really
know.
is. Yeah.
I can't imagine for you teaching your own children during this whole class because it's such a different dynamic. It's a funny thing sometimes how a child learns so much easier with a different mentor, a different teacher, and
That's true. That's true.
for the parent to actually understand how to support what they've just learned, as opposed
Right.
to the parent teaching. It's like, wow, sometimes that wall is pretty heavy.
Right. Well, luckily, at least from my perception, we've had a really, really good relationship in that sense that
It's
we
great.
can, um, really be honest with each other. I mean, my kids know that I learn as much from them as they learn from me.
That's
And a lot of
wonderful.
that is through them giving me feedback on, how something worked out or how they're feeling about something, or if I you know, give them a technique that didn't quite work, why that didn't work.
Hmm.
So I learned so much from them. And I also know that, in life we are going to make mistakes. And so they're comfortable enough to share those mistakes with me.
Right,
But and through those mistakes, they learn so much. They also know they understand that those mistakes are opportunities to grow.
right.
And when it's seen that way, they don't feel like a failure. They just say, "Oh, here's another opportunity to learn something." And so, in that way that they've learned to be, we have such an open communication that I'm hoping that by having them there, the other students will feel more relaxed and able
Hmm.
to open up and share that part of themselves as well, because
Right.
they're pretty open.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, I love this whole concept of this, of having these kids learn to be teachers at such a great, ripe young age, where even if they don't choose to teach it, that they're going to come out with all these wonderful foundational pieces that will help them ground, especially the 16 and 17-year-olds that do have a several more years in school, or they're just about to come out of school and find their journeys in the adult life.
Hmm.
Which I'll say, stay in school is much easier.
Yeah,
uh,
after that, they have to think for themselves.
yes, yes, it's like these would be great opportunities. Chitra, what is the best way for individuals who are interested in this course to find out about it? Would it be through your website, New Age Kids?
Yes, newagekids.com or chitrasuku.com. It leads you to the same place. We have a
Wonderful.
lot of stuff on that website, so please feel free to just go through it. This next coming year, I'm going to be doing a lot of teaching on many different subjects, from in between lives to intuition workshops. So it spans a wide range.
Oh, wonderful.
From a lot of people are so interested in the law of attraction, so I'll be teaching a little more about that. The universal laws, karma. So all of this you can find on the website, and yeah, I will be doing a lot more this coming year now that my kids are off and doing their own thing.
That's great. That's wonderful. And then,
So
so now you'll be teaching, of course, at the two ashrams, your father's and your mother's ashrams?
actually, this is going to be in Germany. I'm heading to Germany next year. It's so interesting how um, the Germans have really received a lot of this, and they're really interested in studying at a deeper level.
Mm.
So I'm taking 5 workshops there next year. I'll be spending a month and a half in Germany. I think it's December, the month, no, November, December. I'll be spending there in 2014,
Wow.
teaching those courses. But I will also find a place, probably in LA, to do some of the courses as well.
Hmm.
And of course, yeah, my mom and dad's place, Florida and Pennsylvania. I haven't worked out the
Wonderful.
dates yet for those, but the ones that are set are the ones in Germany. Yeah.
Oh, in 2014.
2014, yes.
So we have to track you all the way to that time.
Yes, well, actually, 2013.
2013, next year,
2013, yes. Not that far.
at the end of next year.
November, December of 2013. Yes.
Wow,
So
for
I will
five
try to make
months.
it available probably June, July next year as well in Pennsylvania, and maybe in LA February, March. So
Oh,
those are things we're working out.
oh, I see.
So
I see. Wonderful. Well, we hope to definitely keep up with all that. And I know this is not the last interview or time that we're going to be supporting your work. And we would love to get your mother on and your father on, and
that would be great.
etc. And keep boosting it. And also, I would love to be able to further review your CDs and everything, because I do have the one that you had gifted, the Tantra.
Yes.
Yes, which is really wonderful, and I definitely recommend it for everyone. I mean, Chitra has this beautiful voice, and the music in the background is just balanced so lovely. And for those 10-minute meditations is really wonderful. The way she is able to walk you through it, take you into it nice and deep, and then bring you back out of it. And you can do them back to back, which I did. So it's a really lovely CD. And the lovely part about it too is the way you have it set up on the inside, where you actually have written down what you're saying in the meditations, if people would like to read it beforehand as well. So it's very helpful for those, individuals who just would like to take a moment for yourself, and it's like a 5-10 minute moment just to bring yourself back in and ground yourself. So lovely work, Chitra, and I hope to be able to support more of your work as you move forward here on your journey.
Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. And I would love to come back.
Wonderful, wonderful. And as I say, we'll just definitely bring your products back, and we'll talk about how to support you more and more on all the events that you're doing. I love this cutting edge work with the kids, and perfect site, newagekids.com. So for all of you, we all thank you, Chitra, for taking the time in the moment to spend with us and share with us. And we wish you all the luck with this wonderful youth teacher training project that you have started, you and your mom. And we will definitely follow you and the kids and see what comes of it. And hopefully we can bring more into your class.
Thank you so much, Christina. Wonderful.
Thank you, Chitra. And we will look forward to speaking with you soon again. Namaste.
Namaste.